Now, here are three questions here that I'm going to be solving now, simplifying now on indices, and I want you to pay attention to it. A. A says 125 raised to power minus 1 over 3 times 49 raised to power minus 1 over 2 times 8 raised to power 0. Now, from this, let me start with A. A. Now, here, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to pick one value at a time before we bring everything together so that we can understand it. 125, first find factors of 125. 125. What are factors of 125? Prime factors, you have 5 times 5 times 5. Break it down to indices. That's 5 raised to power 3. I've done that. Now come to 49. 49, you have 7 times 7. That will give us 7 raised to power 2. Then you recall something. Look at the last. Recall. In our laws of indices, there was a time I said a raised to power 0 is equal to 1. Anything raised to power 0 is equal to 1. Now, meaning 8 raised to power 0 here is equal to what? 1. Now, let's bring all those values together. Then you have 5 raised to power 3, that's 125, minus 1 over 3 times 7 raised to power 2 raised to power minus 1 over 2 times our 8 raised to power 0 is what? 1. Then open the bracket. Open the bracket. You have 3 times minus 1 over 3. Then times 7 raised to power 2 times minus 1 over 2. Then times 1. Now, from here, our 3 we cancel 3 here. Then our 2 we cancel 2 here. Then what will happen? We have 5 raised to power minus 1 times 7 raised to power minus 1 times 1. And what will that give us? And this will give us what? 1 over 5 times 1 over 7 times 1. Then we have 1 over 35. That's on the first question. 125 raised to power minus 1 over 3 times 49 raised to power minus 1 over 2 times 8 raised to power 0 will give us 1 over 35. When you follow those laws of indices, you will see that a couple of things that I applied there are part of what I told you about laws of indices. Now let's go to the second question. B. Now look at B very well. B can be very technical. We have this may look complex, but it's not complex. You just have to follow the right way to solve it. Now we can also say our 0.81 is equal to 81 times 10 raised to power minus 2. Do you agree with me? Yes, this is standard form. But we're supposed to put our point in between 8 and 1. But I just want to expand it so you understand. If we multiply this together again, we still come back to get this answer. Just to break it down to indices. Now, our 0.25 will give us what? 225 times 10 raised to power minus 2. Now, when you bring these values into the question, you have square root of 81 times 10 raised to power minus 2 times 10 raised to power minus 5 over 225 times 10 raised to power minus 2 down here. Now you can equally cancel this. This will cancel this. This is 10 raised to power 2 divided by 10 raised to power 2 is 1. Then you have square root of 81 times 10 raised to power minus 5 over 225 times 10 raised to power 7. 10 raised to power 7. Now, from this, you can find the prime factors of 81. Find the prime factors of 81 is equal to 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. That's 3 times 3, 9, 9 times 3, 27, 27 times 3, 81. That's 3 raised to power 4. Then for 225, you have 3 times 3 times 5 times 5. And that will give us 3 raised to power 2 times 5 raised to power 2. Then you have it here to be 3 raised to power 4 times 10 raised to power minus 5 over 3 raised to power 2 times 5 raised to power 2 times 10 raised to power 7. From here, we can also have, that will be 3 raised to power 4 divided by 3 raised to power 2 times 10 raised to power minus 5 divided by 10 raised to power 7 over 5 raised to power 2. Just taking it steadily. Now you have, from the law of indices, you have this 3 raised to power 4 minus 2 times 10 raised to power minus 5 minus 7 over 5 raised to power 2. And that will give us what? That will give us 3 raised to power 2 times 10 raised to power minus 12 over 5 raised to power 5 raised to power 2. Now we are almost done. Then you have your times 10 raised to power minus 12. Now note that this is square root, and this can also be 9 over 25 times 10 raised to power minus 12. That's 1 over 2. And this is square root. Now from here, you can equally find the square root of everything. Equally find the square root of everything, different entity, and that will give us 9 over 2, 25 raised to power 1 over 2 times 10 minus 12 times 1 over 2. Then what will be the square root of 9? 3. That's of this 3 over 5 times 10 raised to the power minus 6. This will cancel this. You have your what? Your 6. Now you have this will then be 0.6 times 10 raised to the power minus 6. To standard form, you have 6.0 times 10 raised to the power minus 1 times 10 raised to the power minus 6. Then you have your answer to be 6.0 times 10 raised to the power minus 7. That's on that for the second question. That's on that for the second question. The second question is square root of 0.81 times 10 raised to the power minus 5 over 2.25 times 10 raised to the power 7. N times 12 raised to the power 2n. And that's what we have as the question here. That's what we have as the question here. Now, how do we go about it? You can just straightforwardly just find the factors first. 6 raised to the power 2n plus 1 will also give us 6 raised to the power 2n times 6 raised to the power 1. Can you remember that law of indices? When you bring these two together, because it has common base, it gives us this. Now, you can, and then you break it down, you have 2 times 3. That's a factor of 6 raised to the power 2n times 2 times 3. Now, the note I gave to you in law of indices in my previous video, you have your answer to be with 2 raised to the power 2n times 3 raised to the power 2n times 2 times 3. Now, let's pick for 9. Let's pick for 9. 9 raised to the power n. What will 9 raised to the power n gives us? That will be 3 raised to the power 3 times 3, that's 9 raised to the power n. That will be 3 raised to the power 2 raised to the power n, and that's 3, open the bracket, 2 times n is 2n. That's for 9. Now let's go for 4. 4 raised to the power 2n. What will it give us? That will be 2 times 2 raised to the power 2n. And that will be what? 2 times 2 is 4. Then open your bracket, you have 2 raised to the power 2n times 2 raised to the power 2n. That's on 4. We are finding the we're breaking down those entity into their factors. Now let's go to 18. 18 that's 18 raised to the power n. What will 18 raised to the power n give us? The factors of 18 is 2 times 3 times 3. 2 times 3 times 3. That's 18 raised to the power n. And this will give us 2 raised to the power n times 3 raised to the power n times 3 raised to the power n. Then let's go to 2n. Our 2n still remains. That's 2. That's 2n. 2n. Now let's go to the last one, 12. 12 raised to the power 2n. Find the factors of 12. That's 2 times 3 times 3. Now raised to the power 2n. Now, when you open your bracket, you have 2 raised to the power 2n times 2 raised to the power 2n times 3 raised to the power 2n. Now, we are going to slot in all those factors into the question. This question, we remove everything, we remove all this entity and substitute it for this. And so we'll be able to solve the break it down. Now you have you have your value to be, you have your value to be then you have your value to be 2 raised to power 2n times 3 raised to power 2n times um times 3. Then for 9 times 3 raised to power 2n. Then for 4 times 2 raised to power 2n 2n times 2 raised to power 2n. Then over, let's go for 18, 2 raised to power n times 3 raised to power n times 3 raised to power n times 2 raised to power n. That's for 2. And for 12, which is the last one, 2 raised to power 2n times 2 raised to power 2n times 3 raised to power 2n. Now, what are we going to do next? Find all those entities that have the same base and simplify them together. Now we have 2n, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. Bring all the 2's together and bring all the 3's together. Then you have 2 raised to power 2n times 2 times 2 raised to power 2n times 2 raised to power 2n times 3 raised to power 2n times 3 times 3 raised to power 2n over 2 raised to power n times 2 raised to power n times 2 raised to power 2n times 2 raised to power 2n. That's times 3 raised to power n times 3 raised to power n times 3 raised to power 2n. Then find the indices. They have the same base. Then you add up their index, their powers for ease. Then you have this to be 2 raised to power 2n. This 2 here is carrying 1 plus 1 plus 2 raised to power 2n, this 2n plus 2n again times 3, 2n, this is carrying 1, it's carrying 1 plus 1 plus 2n. Then let's go to the denominator. We have 2 raised to power, we have n, 2n, 2n. That's n plus 2n plus 2n times 3 raised to power, this is n plus n plus 2n. Then what will this give us? 2n plus 2n is 4n. 4n plus 2n is 6n. That will give us 2 raised to power 6n plus 1 times 3 raised to power 2n plus 2n is 4n. 4n plus 1 over, this is n plus n, 2n plus 2n, 4n, 4n plus 2n, 6n. That's 2 raised to power 6n times 3 raised to power n plus n is what? 2n. 2n plus 2n, that's 4n. Now let me use a different color so we get it more accurately. Now you can as well now split this to be 2 raised to the power 6n times 2 raised to the power 1 times 3 raised to the power 4n times 3 raised to the power 1 over 2 raised to the power 6n times 3 raised to the power 4n. Then this 2 raised to the power 6n, this 2 raised to the power 4n, it will cancel each other. Then this 3 raised to the power 4n, this 3 raised to the power 4n, it will cancel each other. Then what do you have left? We have 2 raised to the power 1 times 3, and that is 2 times 3. The answer is equal to 6. Now check through what we have been doing. Check through, you see that our final answer is just 6. For more questions, you can check a link below. It's a book on 100 solutions to algebraic indices. Check the link. You can buy the book just for more questions from simple to complex. Thank you very much.